Hello listeners, in today's tutorial we will explore the topic asynchronous discussion forums, strategies for encouraging meaningful participation and critical thinking. My name is Donnell Knight French. First, we will define the problem, which is the absence of or low levels of critical thinking being exhibited in the discussion forum, and take a look at some of the reasons why this may occur. Next, we will examine some solutions which can be applied to address this challenge. So let's define the problem. One of the key reasons for integrating asynchronous forums into the online educational context is to foster a virtual learning environment where deep learning, which is fueled by critical thinking, can take place. However, one of the main challenges with asynchronous discussion forums is conceptualizing and designing the learning activities to facilitate high-level learning, application of critical thinking skills, and the collaborative building of knowledge within this context. Ineffective design of discussion tasks and low levels of facilitation and monitoring prevent purposeful interaction and prove to be significant hindrances to the knowledge building process. It is important to note that this knowledge building process is also hindered by the lack of cognitive presence in the discussion forum. For a discussion to demonstrate a high level of cognitive presence, there has to be evidence that knowledge gain is being applied to new contexts. This is referred to as stage 4 or the resolution stage of the 4-step practical inquiry cycle. The challenge with this is that there's evidence to suggest that with most asynchronous discussion forums, the level of learning does not move past stage 3 or the exploration stage of the cycle. This means that in many cases, despite the fact that students are collaborating and exchanging ideas, these ideas are not being applied to novel contexts or are not being fully explored. This describes a situation where deep learning is not taking place. One strategy which can be applied to improve the likelihood of deep learning is the 4 questions technique developed by Dietz, Uller, and Lanter 2009. An investigation conducted by these authors revealed that when students took part in interactive activities by responding to questions focused on the following elements, they were able to exhibit deeper learning than those students who did not respond. The questions are formulated to focus on analysis, which relates to having a critical outlook on the course content, reflection, which requires students to think about the importance of the content, relation, which urges students to relate the content to aspects of their personal and professional lives, and generation, which encourages students to generate queries about the content. Now let's have a look at some of the questions that can be posed using the 4 questions technique. For analysis, you can ask your students to highlight one area related to a concept that they learned while working on a unit or completing an activity. With reflection, the question posed could be, why do you believe that the area or concept you selected is important? Under the relation category, a question you can ask your student is, how would you relate this area or concept to your personal or professional life? And finally, under the generation heading, you can ask, what questions can you generate based on the concept and what aspects of the concept are you still thinking about? Another strategy which has successfully been applied to encourage students to move to and through the final stage of the practical inquiry cycle is the application of facilitation through scaffolding. Scaffolding can be referred to as any type of learning resource that enables students to effectively complete an assignment that they would not be able to complete if the guidance was not provided. In fact, in a study conducted by Darabee and Jin 2016, it was revealed that when students were provided with exemplars of posts, the level of critical thinking exhibited in the responses increased as a result of the reduction of students' cognitive load. This suggests that not having to figure out how to participate in the discussion and decode the requirements contributed to increased focus on reflecting on and analyzing the course content. Veronica et al. 2017 provide an example of how scaffolding can be applied to instruct and to steer students toward critical thinking and fulfilling the requirements of the discussion assignment. Scaffolding can allow you to give explicit instructions regarding what and how to post. You may use statements such as, reflect on what you understand and articulate your thoughts here, or ensure that you click reply to respond. To encourage students to think more critically, you can prompt them using statements such as, my research and experience relates to this context because. You can also help them to focus by suggesting sentence starters. For example, an interesting point in the course notes reads that, so that they know they need to be writing about the course notes rather than veering off to other topics. Questioning can also be used to get students to dig deeper if you think they need to be more analytical in their responses. For example, a question posed could be, what do you think would happen if? Or, how could this apply to your own life? They can also be given clarifying techniques in the event that they need to get a better grasp of a colleague's post. For example, I think this is an interesting statement. I think what you are trying to say is that. This strategy gives students concrete examples of statements that can be used to add to or advance the discussion in the forum. It is important to note that these strategies work best for students who are just transitioning to online learning or with those who are new to asynchronous discussion forums. Please also bear in mind that there is a fine line between giving students a nudge in the right direction and becoming too involved in terms of leading their thoughts. Be mindful of the fact that these strategies are meant to give only gentle nudges. To recap, today we explored how the 4 questions technique and scaffolding can be used to gently guide students toward making deeper, more meaningful contributions to discussion forums. I hope you found the information useful.